Welcome back, everybody. Today's video, we're talking about how to get the best optimal smoke out of a briar pipe. This comes from many years, many pipes, many smokes of trial and error and how to get the optimal smoke. There's a lot going on with a briar pipe, along with other pipes, actually all pipes in general. And this was a process I developed over many years on how to get the optimal smoke out of a briar. All right, sit back and relax. So first, briar. Briar is wood. It's a root. It's a burl. It sits underwater. Roughly, it sucks up a lot of water. Now you have to understand what this does. This is a it actually feeds the plant. It's like little mini flowers, water. So it's has a very good saturation point. Now it's not a filter. It's saturation of moisture and water. And that's what wood is. So when wood gets wet, or you freshly cut wood, it's wet, it's green, it's full of moisture. So how do you get that moisture out? You put it in the sun and you let it dry, or you just, you let it sit 6 months, a year, and let it dry out. Typical firewood, that's what you have to do. You have to season it. So when pipe makers get these briars, they usually season the wood, okay? Because it's saturated. They'll season it. I don't know. Independent carvers do whatever they want to do with it. I don't know. Whatever. It's an individual basis. How long they season their blocks? So they get them as blocks. Factories tend to have an in and out system. Where they sit for a while. Last time I checked, which was years ago, Savinelli, anything come out of the Savinelli factory was at least 5 years old. They had 5 years worth of blocks sitting there, rotating out. I don't know what it is now. Could be the same. So they season their wood, basically. They got to dry it out before they work on it. Okay, with that being said, what happens when you smoke? There's moisture in the tobacco, right? You put something wet in here. What's going to happen? The saturation process is going to start all over again. Pipe's going to become wet. And now we add heat to it. So what happens when moisture gets heated up? Well, if it gets heated up real at a high real temperature, it starts to boil. If it's at a lower temperature but hot, it usually gives off steam. That's where we fall in with our pipe tobacco as we're smoking it. It gives off steam. The moisture has to go somewhere. Now, it's not at a boiling point, because this would be boiling, obviously. You wouldn't have the juice come through. That would be all boiled out. That's too hot. So what happens? Juice comes through here, saturates the pipe, comes through here. Steam happens. Where does the steam go? Well, it's most likely it's already had some absorption already going through. Comes through here. Gives you tongue bite. When it gives you tongue bite, your tongue hurts. What else happens? Irritates your taste buds, and you can't taste the tobacco. You might taste maybe 10, 20%, 25%. I don't know what the percentage. You taste a little bit of it, and you think that's what the blend tastes like. But you're missing out on a lot of flavor. You let your tin age 10 years, and 60% of that age is literally going up in smoke. So you're not tasting it. So how do we solve this problem? So over the years, I've done a lot of trial and error and whatnot. So first thing, we got to get rid of the moisture. Okay? How do we get rid of the moisture? We dry the tobacco out to a crisp. Now, I know a lot of people don't like to do that. Some people advise against it. Guess what? The less moisture in that tobacco, the less that this piece of wood has to absorb, and the less of a chance there's steam. This is just easy common sense. So, dry it out. Dry it out. That's step number one. Number two, now the shape and size of these pipes matter. Okay? So something like this, very thin wall. Okay? Now, if anybody's been smoking a while knows that this pipe is going to smoke hot. And what we mean by that is it's going to be real hot to the touch. And there's a chance of a burnout. There's a good chance of a burnout if you're not careful, because it's so darn hot. All right, so what do? These were a popular shape. Now I have another one, a little bit thicker. Same type of billiard, a little saddle bit. A little bit thicker. So this probably won't get as hot. Now we have a little bit thicker one. This is probably going to be okay. I know it's okay because I've smoked this pipe for years in the past. I've smoked all these pipes I'm going to show you. So what happens? So you think a smaller pipe, it might burn out as it gets hot. Now that could happen. That could happen. But if you keep the cake in line and you know, be gentle with it, don't freight train it. You sip, slow sips. I smoked this pipe quite a few times. Yeah, it's hot. It didn't burn out on me. I wouldn't recommend this as a first pipe for a beginner. But I would personally, preferably, you want to get something a little bit more thicker like this one for a first pipe until you know the routine and everything. So it's going to smoke hotter, so there might be more moisture, but the moisture should be able to burn off. It should make its way actually through the pipe. But if we're drying the tobacco out, we're going to have less moisture to deal with. Give the pipe a break. Give this a break. Because the saturation point happens quick, and then the steam starts, and you're not going to have good smokes. Another thing, massive pipes. I never could get a massive pipe to smoke good. Now, what I mean by smoking good is that it will smoke fine. I mean, the functionality of it's fine. What I mean is actually tasting everything that's going on in the blend that you're smoking. If it's a complex blend, if it's just a one-dimensional blend, actually taste everything that's going on with full flavor. That's what I mean by bad smokes. The functionality of the pipe's fine. There's no arguing that. As long as it comes through, you know, the drought hole meets the bottom of the bowl, the functionality of the pipe's fine. So we got big wood here. Now, you can hold this all day long. We'll get a little warm. But all that moisture has a long way to make its way out. And now, what I'm getting at by these thicknesses of these bowls is that this thin pipe is going to dry out a lot quicker than this thick pipe. So this might be twice a day. This might be twice a week. Okay? Preferably something like this once a day. Now the rule is, once a day, usually that the rule is, but when you got a big chunk of wood right here that absorbed a lot of water, a lot of moisture, a lot of goop, it's going to take longer to dry out, especially if you're going back to back with it. Now some people, most of it's supposed to be carnauba wax on the outside. Some of these cheap pipes, they put shellac. They'll spray shellac on here, and what happens is that seals the pipe up. And I had a shellac pipe years ago, and you know what's happened? It was beading. It was actually little bubbles were coming out because the moisture's trying to get out, and it couldn't do it. So shellac pipes, that's just a big no. Just stay away from that. Do yourself a favor. But as far as the thin pipes, it's going to take a lot less time for it to dry out. Now, like I said, dry your tobacco out. There's less of an overload going on with the pipe. All right. Cake. Keep the cake consistent. Keep the cake. I found that I can probably smoke 2 pounds of tobacco before I had to ream it. Now, I'm doing an extensive cleaning every time. I'll do the pipe cleaner, and I'll do the paper towel, the little squares here. Okay, so it keeps cake forming. Once the cake's formed, it keeps it from forming quickly. Because once you have to ream that and you have to play around with that cake, you're going to have a series of bad smokes. Like I said, bad smokes is not the functionality, it's just the taste. You're going to have a series until a new layer of cake goes over that layer. So you're talking about a half a dozen, maybe even a dozen. It depends on the blend. Blends. This is another problem. You're not, because of ghosting, you're not going to go from Malta Dolce to pirate cake. You're not going to be able to do that. Because then you'll end up with some kind of Italian pirate blend. And you don't want that. So what you want to do is keep like tobaccos for that particular pipe. Now, I have heard pipe smokers over the years keep a blend per pipe. Like if they want to smoke Malta Dolce, that's it. This is the Malta Dolce pipe. End of story. Or this is, you like a Scudo. This is a Scudo pipe. End of story. So that's how extreme you want to go. Personally, it's probably not a bad idea after all the experience and testing I've done over the years. But I found that like blends work perfectly fine. You can go from vapor to vapor to vapor to vapor, back to back, you'll be fine. But when you start jumping around, vapor to pirate cake to Malta Dolce to pumpkin spice to Grampus flake, all over the place, and you're going to have problems because of the cake. The cake formed with the residue of, say, Malta Dolce. That's all you smoked in here. That's a Malta Dolce cake. So you want to keep that, unless you want to grind all that out and start over. That's why people have pipe collect. They have a whole collection of pipes. So keep that in mind. So in conclusion, what do we got? We got the wall of the pipe. This person is kind of thin. Something like this is probably good. Dry the tobacco out to a crisp for Briar. The less moisture, the less problems you're going to have. And last but not least, keep like blends in one pipe. And smoke your pipe often. So if you want to get this pipe going, I haven't smoked these pipes in a long time. So it doesn't matter what I put what in. I'm going to have a series of bad smokes until it comes around. Pipe has to come around. So for that to happen, I'm just going to pick one blend, and I'm going to smoke one bowl out of this every day. The same blend. If I open up 2 ounces of Cajun cake, I don't know. Say this is a vapor pipe. I'm going to smoke Cajun cake one bowl a day out of this pipe. And I want to keep going. When the 2 ounces are done, I'm going to open another 2 ounces up. Or I might move over to Escudo, some vapor. And the more consistent you are, you can. I've had a 3-month run with a pipe, and it was a magical smoke every night. And then when I went to clean the cake out, because a couple pounds went down, had a series of bad smokes. I put the pipe down. I'm like, yes, I'm done with this. I'm not dealing with these bad smokes. So anyway, that's the best I have come up with over the years. So that's all I got. I hope you are able to get something from that. I hope you're able to understand most of it. And we'll see you on the next one.